Okay, welcome back, guys, to the Poporium. Today, it's going to be me and Mariah,
Hi.
and we're going to be talking to Mr. AJ over here.
Hello, world.
And today, we're going to be discussing a few things as far as Hollywood, movies, screenplays, comic books, music. We're going to be doing a very large mixture here today with the EarthTone Kingdom. So, to kind of launch us in, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Well, thanks for having me on the show. Firstly, my name is AJ Ampadu. I am from Buffalo, New York, and I'm a creative writer and hip hop artist. And I have been working in hip hop and creative writing for the last 15 to 20 years. I've dabbled in television, film, and journalism. Currently, I started my own comic book publishing company called EarthTone Kingdom. And I just recently launched a Kickstarter to launch three different comic book intellectual properties off of that new publishing imprint. And we are live on Kickstarter as of right now. I think we have something like 18 hours left or something like that before my Kickstarter is over. So we are less than a day away from that completing and the comic books launching. So that is me in a nutshell.
Interesting, very interesting. Now, one of the questions I had was, what was it like to get into the music industry?
Getting into the music industry was it's tough. It's definitely tough, but it's also kind of like a labor of love, just like mostly everything I do. It stems from a position of love, and first time I heard Tribe Called Quest by Midnight Marauder, I'm sorry, Midnight Marauders by a Tribe Called Quest. I fell in love. I fell in love with that album. I fell in love with hip hop, and I knew I wanted to do music. I knew I couldn't sing. Couldn't really play any instruments. I dabble with the piano a little bit, but
Oh,
Do
okay.
you know?
I mean, just some basic, just basic piano lessons. But
Like Beethoven?
yeah, yeah, nothing wild. But that led me to learn how to make beats. So I used to write a lot of raps and produce a lot of beats. And back then, that was like in the pre Kanye days, for a rapper to make his own beats, it was like very, very like uncanny. So that's kind of like started my love of hip hop. And then how I got into the industry is I'm from Buffalo. Like I said, I did as much as I could in Buffalo, and I realized I had to move to the big city, New York. Moved to New York, and I just rapped everywhere, every open mic, every venue I can get myself into until
Like
I
spread your
started.
name out there.
Yeah, yeah, just had to start spreading my name, and then that at that time that was a very good time for hip hop because we're talking about 2008 till about 2015, and that era of at least New York hip hop and really hip hop in general, we I like to call it the blog era because
Oh.
it was pre Spotify, pre streaming, even a little bit. I mean, iTunes was out, of course, but iTunes was like the only digital landscape for music. They weren't. You
Yeah.
couldn't even really listen to albums on YouTube. Like you can just pull up somebody's album on YouTube. You couldn't even do that back in like 2010 or something like that. MySpace was still out, right? So
Ooh, throwback.
pre Instagram, pre Spotify, pre just like music being digital. So at that time it was really cool. And the reason we call it the blog era is because the hip hop blogs, kind of determined what was hot at that time. So that was something that was brand new. So two blogs that I really, really leaned into, Two Dope Boys and NahRight.com, another one, OKPlayer.com. Shout out all the journalists who curated music on those websites because back then, circa 2010, they would post a Jay-Z song right next to one of my songs. Like we were all in the same blog
Oh,
stream.
that's crazy.
So that was the first time artists like at a very low independent level had an opportunity to get posts. Like I remember Two Dope Boys at the time, which was like the number two hip hop blog in the world. Um, Tyler, the creator, when he first came out, he was trying to get posts, and Two Dope would not post them because
Oh.
I guess they didn't like him. so they didn't post them. And Tyler, a lot of the early Odd Future songs, um, he's like cursing them out. He's like, F2 dope boys and those guys are some suckers or whatever. There's at least like 2 or 3 songs where he's like cursing out Two Dope Boys. And when those songs were being recorded, I was getting posts on Two Dope Boys. So it was so interesting to me that this he would become a high tier artist, but an artist like him at that point wanted nothing more than to get a post on Two Dope Boys. And I was getting posts on Two Dope. And it just lets you know how big and important the blogs were back in 2010, 2011, 2012, that a guy like Tyler would, was really vehemently trying to get onto these blogs, because they really would really start a person's career. So, I have a kind of a little bit of an issue with the way that music is being presented to people now, because everything is through algorithm.
Yeah.
And it's a little funny, man. It's a little funny style. These algorithms can be manipulated, and I just like human curated music. I just like humans to play music for me, and this is why Twitch is now the best frontier for music, in my opinion.
Yeah, because Twitch.
Heck
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. I know I was just rambling for a minute, but go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
I'm just stuck on the fact that we said that shit at the same time. But what's it called? I mean, he's got a point. Twitch has now been a platform to where things are literally getting advertised for free. Like, no media team is needed, because like an album will drop, people will be on Twitch for literally 5 or more hours going over the entire album, first to last song, extra tracks, all that. Like, so people
and
go on.
Now, I was gonna say that of course the album releases, and because I think the first time I listened to music on Twitch was when West Side Gun released his album, and I'd never been on Twitch. I was like, why is he doing it on Twitch? This is so weird. But for me, it's the DJs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of DJ culture. I love turntablism. I love DJs. I love, not only DJs who can rock a party, but DJs who can like blend really interesting music. And like New York is such a DJ town. It's so eclectic. Like, you go to a coffee shop, you go to a bar, and the random DJ they'll have there will be like amazing, and we'll be playing all types of songs that you're whipping your phone out trying to Shazam them, trying to be like, hey, what's this? And I just discovered so much unbelievably cool music on Twitch that I just can't with the algorithms. Like, these streaming services, they don't really curate, in my opinion, they don't really curate, great artists. They curate the artists who are popular and who are gonna make them the most money.
Yeah, and I feel like social media as well has changed the landscape of music so much as well. Like, honestly, the landscape of anything also, because back in the day it used to be, especially like in the years that you're talking about, like 2010s through 2012, all that, like, it really was not like, oh, I could just make a 30-second to a minute long video and it go viral, and then all of a sudden I'm getting like brand deals and music deals and stuff like that. Like, it was really about like really either getting lucky or also just having a really sellable product, because now I feel like social media is, like you said, it's also really about algorithms. Like, anybody can make a TikTok and it has the potential to go viral, but if you really want to be like a musician or a model or an actress or something like that, it's really about kind of understanding how the algorithms work in order to get those millions of views and hopefully get out there more.
Yeah, it is. And sorry, excuse me. I kind of feel like I feel bad, I guess, for younger generations who are entering into music in this in a very inorganic way, because I think when it comes to the modern day music industry, the record labels have completely won.
Yeah.
Like, they just, man, they won big. And then you think about a company like Spotify, right? who you guys are probably going to gather I'm not very fond of. You take a company like that, and I always tell people who don't really understand the music industry or why people say it's shady and they don't really get it. I'm like, point to one other industry that can make billions of dollars off of a product they don't create. And I mean, all Spotify is a platform,
It
and
is.
they don't promote artists. They don't pay for artist studio time, or they don't have. There's no Spotify festival. How come there's no like annual Spotify festival? Just think about something as simple as that. How come they don't have a
Yeah,
a,
they
a
should
music
do
festival?
that.
Like
You
they
know,
don't invest anything into the culture of music, and they make all of the money.
and you know what's even
And
crazy? Like, I don't mean to chime in, but
no,
like,
no, sorry.
here's even funnier. Like, people on Spotify are really trying to get to where people like Jay-Z and Future and all these other
Hmm.
people are at by
Hmm.
Yeah.
using Spotify. Because now that you have Anchor, you can use Anchor, and Anchor will put it on there for you without all the paperwork, all the nonsense. They'll do it for you for free. So what's crazier is people on Spotify are making money just off of white noise, and not even just white noise, but like they're making money like through music and whatnot. But a small percentage of that goes to Spotify because again, it's their platform. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you can
Well,
make. Oh, go on.
I was going to say a large percentage goes. I mean, that's the other thing about it is like musicians don't really get that much money off of Spotify.
Like at
You
all.
know, yeah, like they pay you like a fraction of a penny per play. And it's the worst. It's like way worse than like even the FM radio days or any other distribution method. No one pays less than Spotify. And it's just a little bit. I just feel like it's a little bit sad, but it's great as a fan because you have
Yeah,
this streaming service. You throw a couple bucks a month and you can listen to any album, any artist, any song. That's amazing.
for
you know
99
Yeah.
cents.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
you
But
can curate your own playlist
right,
and everything, and you have to also keep in mind like Spotify has advertisers as well,
right.
like people who are paying Spotify so that
Hmm.
they can promote. Like the amount of times I get Dove soap ads on Spotify and I'm like, I don't use this. I literally will scream at my phone. I don't use Dove. Stop targeting me for this. And it's always like the black girl advertisements where it's like girls from like YouTube and stuff. They're like, I use Dove soap because it helps my skin not be dry. I'm like, it does dry out your skin. So it's like, it's super funny because like as me, like someone who works in marketing, I understand how much money it
Hmm.
takes for someone like Spotify to run your targeted ads and your just general ads as well.
Yeah.
Like that's thousands of dollars.
It's unbelievable how much money that's being made on that platform. I mean, now they're taking over the podcast game.
They are.
Yeah.
Their stock has done nothing but go up, 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 and up. And me just as an observer, it's like, okay, you guys are making all this money, that's great, but you're not really making money for artists. You're making money for your advertisers, as you just said, and then it
Yeah.
allows them to further cheapen the value of music. Another issue, and one of the reasons why I'm not really going hard with my music career as I once was, is that music is worthless. Like it's not easy to make an amazing song.
Yeah.
It takes time, energy, and you got to really work it and everything like that. And then even if it is a great song, you got to perform it and get it out there so people can hear it and all that stuff. And most people won't even pay $1 for a song, you
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
honestly.
And that's just like, to me, it's kind of like disheartening that
Music is going down in such a dramatic like decline because like even now, like if it's my generation, music is not a form of, how do you say, it's not a form of how it makes you feel. It's a form of who's singing the song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all about it's all about the who's selling the song
Yeah,
to
Mhm,
like
you.
mhm.
you can have an entire Like you could have a really amazing song, like lyrics, the feeling of the song, the instrumentals, all that, and it be sung by someone on SoundCloud, and then you got someone like Drake sing the same exact song, and then it go like everywhere, like everybody be singing that song. You know what I'm saying? So like, and me, uh, I'm a disco individual. I do like disco music. It is very, yeah, it's very groovy to me. I'm not gonna lie.
This, I'm so shocked.
Disco is a very, I enjoy it a lot. That and old school like love songs. They're very nice to me. They've been very good to me. Now that being said, not everyone's gonna like the same thing, and that just goes for anything. No one's gonna like the same thing that you like, or like the same music, that you used to like and that outs now, and all this
Yeah.
stuff. But the issue is that a song shouldn't be good just because someone dropped it. Like you can give these songs to other individuals, and they might be a better vocalist than what some of these like artists and rappers are, and they still won't get the credit. You wanna know why? Because it's who, like as y'all said, it's who's selling it. Like if you have two people, right, selling music, one of them is Drake and one of them is a stranger, you're gonna go with Drake because Drake has performed good stuff. But 9 times out of 10, it's not even his. And I hate to say it, but like sometimes they don't even write their own stuff. They're just singing it. Like they'll buy the song from somebody, give them a small percentage, or sometimes if you're lucky, royalty fees. That's about it.
Well, yeah, and I feel like, I mean, much like you, I like disco. I grew up in the era of Park and Barkers. You take a really talented individual, you plant them on stage, they sing their life away, pretty much, and then everyone is like blown away. Like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Sade, Anita Baker, like all these people that they didn't need to do all the extra. Like you were not gonna see Whitney Houston dropping it like it's hot and twerking. You're not going to, like, Mariah Carey will do a cute little two-step, but you're not coming to see a Mariah Carey show back in the day to see her dance. You're coming to see her bust out a whistle tone, talk about butterflies for 50 minutes, and then you go home. Like, but now it's like you said, it's about the package, it's about the marketing. How can we market this person? And it's different now, even with rap, because when you look at male and female rappers, they're completely different now than they were, say, in the 90s, in the 80s, because it's about how can we sell them? How can I sell Meg the Stallion? How can I sell, all these different, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B? Like, how can I sell these people, Drake, and so on, versus, somebody who back in the day, like, it was more so about the lyrics. It was more so about
the feeling,
the feeling of it, versus now it's like, okay, if I get a song like WAP out, I know it's gonna blow out. No, y'all know I'm telling the truth right now. It's gonna blow up everywhere. It's gonna be all over TikTok.
It
It's gonna
blew
be
up for 2 reasons. That's it.
right, and it works because it's like, okay, we know people are gonna watch the music video, people are gonna blow this song up all over the place. It'll be the song of a season, and then it'll kind of be, whatever, until the next big, slightly inappropriate song comes out.
My goodness, the whole music industry to me is just a big ass blur. Like at this point, whatever drops. If it's good, I'll listen to it. If it's not, I just won't care. But in my opinion, like as AJ was saying earlier, the music industry and it's really corrupt. It's a corrupt place. It's a corrupt environment. And if you're lucky to move around it, good for you. But if you're pursuing into the music career, stay on the straight and narrow, my friend, because like, it's bad. It's really bad. They have a formula. already set out for you. The moment you come in there with your wide-eyed face and expression, and you think you finna get this nice little deal, it's not finna be a deal. The deal's about to be a long ass 25-year to life contract that you about to sign.
Yeah, but you want to know, and you know what's crazy though, and this is actually an interesting segue, is that there's some people coming into the comic book industry who are bringing music industry tactics. I would say.
Really?
Oh
Well,
no!
so the thing
Like,
is,
give me a book.
I love the comic book industry because it's one of the nicest industries. I mean, I've really only worked in three industries. I've worked in the music industry, I've worked in healthcare, and I'm in the comic book industry right now. And also, I guess you could say film and television as well. But film and
Yeah,
film,
definitely.
film and TV. You know, I just I didn't spend so much time, I guess I should say, in these other industries. I'm like over 10 years in these other industries. So my film and TVs, I didn't do it as much. So speaking on these all these industries, comic book industry is by far just the nicest.
And
It's
here,
like it's
let
just
me ask you a question.
mhm.
What were some of the things like some of the challenges you had to go through, like just pitching your graphic novel alone?
um. So the challenge is that doing anything over the internet has always been my weakness. I'm not good at garnering attention on the internet, like whether it be on social media, whether it be via email, you know, whatever digital channel I go through, it's just never really been successful. So like every single comic book company has a pitching guideline, like, you know, submit your pitch and do this and do that and what have you. It's never really been successful for me. Every single contact I've had, from music to comic books to television to film, has always been face to face. um I'm the type of guy who, if I can get in front of you and I can get 30 seconds of your attention, I can probably get 2 minutes of your attention. You know,
Yeah.
like I have
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but I do
No,
have
go
a
ahead.
certain level of physical charisma. But that physical charisma is completely evaporates on the internet. I can't translate that, and I never really have. So my biggest thing was just trying to reach the people who I need to reach.
No, I
Um,
definitely agree.
just getting my stuff in front of the right people at the right time. And you know, the whole New York Comic Con has been like the biggest blessing to me, because all of my comic book connects has been because I go to New York Comic Con every single year, and
Oh wow.
I run up on everybody, every single. I go to every workshop, I go to every panel, and I whenever there's a Q&A, I'm always the first person at the mic. I always sit right near the microphone. And here's a tip: if you go to any type of convention, you walk into the convention room, look to see where the microphones are for the crowd, because they have crowd microphones for the Q&A session, and sit right next to the microphone. So when they say, "Hey, anyone have any questions?" you're the first person at that mic, and you know, have make sure you have a really good question. Um, and then even after I ask a question, I'll still walk up to the dais after the questions are done, when the whole show is over, and approach whoever. So you know, from that, I've made so many connections, so many connections. And it's the only reason I even have publishing deals on the table for my comics, is because of the physical connections I've been able to make. So to answer your question, yeah, the hardest thing for me is just making the proper connections um, with people. That's the toughest, and just getting people just to listen to your pitch, because once again, if you email their pitch, they might like it, they may not. But I've only successfully been able to pitch someone by email once. That only happened once out of my entire career. So that lets you know how successful that is. Um,
No, that I definitely do understand. I mean, as far as when it comes to pitching ideas and like you said, like portraying yourself like in social media, like how you would in person, I do kind of agree with that because in my own personal like challenges that I've had with like doing this podcast when I don't show my face. I show my face on the website. That is it. Because that I'm not talking. It's just a picture. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
But as far as when it comes to like TikTok and stuff, like I can't do it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like if I'm camera shy because like I have no issue with doing in person like negotiations and deals and whatnot and stuff like that. But
No, because it's different. It's different on TikTok.
it
It's
is.
different, and
Yeah.
I know exactly how you feel. I mean, honestly, the people who are most successful on TikTok, and not just TikTok, but any type of social media, they have a certain. I hate to say it, but and this isn't listen, and this isn't against anyone on this call, Mariah, because I know you also have a very robust social media and whatnot. But there's a certain level of ego that is there. Like the person who likes to post selfies, like, but their entire timeline is selfies, right?
I wouldn't say ego. I'd probably say like confidence.
Well,
No, I
see,
would say ego.
see, confidence. It's subjective, right? Because I would say the confident person, every 5 pictures is a selfie, every 10 pictures is a selfie,
But every last one.
but every single picture is a selfie. How many times do I need to see your face? How many times do you need to see your face on the internet?
Yeah, that's
Right?
just being narcissistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely. So I think that the people who just really have extroverted personalities and really feel the need to express themselves, those are the people who are going to do the most on social media because oh man, I'm trying to tiptoe around this story because I don't want to get myself in trouble. But
Then
I'll
tiptoe you
say
shall.
this. I'm just going to say this because I'm going to talk about this situation without talking about it.
Okay.
There is a comic book company that I used to work for
Hmm.
that let's just say me and the owner of said company had creative differences.
Okay.
I feel like I
Um,
know who you're talking about, but continue.
this particular comic book company, um, they they make a lot of they get a lot of buzz because their CEO is on social media 24/7, 365. All of the social medias all day, and their CEO puts their face on everything. Like, you don't even see their comics, you just see this person's face all day every day talking about how amazing and big their comic book company is. And this person's ego has completely driven the success of this company. And I look at their company and I'm like, you know what, I'm not willing to do that, but it's obviously working for them.
Yeah.
And going back to what we were saying, like, I think you feeling a little bit camera shy or whatever, I feel the same way. Like, I just started putting my face on TikTok and stuff like that, and honestly, once I get a little bit more buzz and I get my train rolling, I'm taking my face off because, like, I want my brand to stand on its own.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
you
to
want your
speak for
work.
itself.
Yeah.
right, like that. I don't there's you know I just feel like I want you to know my character's face. I want you
Yeah.
to know Kimmy Cosmic's face. Like, that's who I want you to know. I don't want you, you don't need to see me.
Yeah.
Like,
And speaking of Kisme Comic or Kimmy Cosmic, what's that about anyhow? What's going
oh,
on with Kisme Comic?
okay, yeah. So, Kimmy Cosmic is one of my comics, and it is a young adult science fantasy adventure. It's based on themes of classic westerns, classic samurai stories, pirate lores. There's a little bit of everything in there. Um, it's about a young girl named Kimmy Cosmic. She's a cowboy. She's a half human, half Paxian alien. She lives in this cluster of asteroids called the Pax, where she wrangles quadpods, which are bioluminescent farm animals that float through space. She
Hmm.
knows almost little to nothing about her half human heritage. She's the only alien in their entire area that has brown skin. So it's something that people remember
Wow.
about her. Um, her parents were freedom fighters. They wanted to liberate the ranch that she lives on from an evil corporation that owns it, but they died before she was born.
Well, those are
So,
spoilers, mate.
I mean, it's all everything I'm telling you is in the first issue. So,
I don't have the first
yeah,
issue.
everything I'm telling you is in the first issue, and there's trust me, there's plenty of other spoilers ahead. I'm just giving you
Listen,
the
listen.
very
Here's
very
my question:
basics.
where can I buy said comic book?
You know what? If you in the next 13 hours go to earthtoneking.com or just go to my Kickstarter. So earthtoneking.com, the link on it will take you straight to the Kickstarter. In the next 13 hours, if you hop to my Kickstarter, you can get you a copy of Kimmy Cosmic. Now, here's the thing: most people, when they launch comic book on Kickstarter, they usually launch one issue. Maybe they launch like a 60, 70 page, graphic novel or something like that. I am starting off with 130 pages of Kimmy Cosmic.
Wow.
So I've been working on this with my co-creator, Emma Galloway. Shout them out. Been working on this for about 3 years. So it's a little bit unconventional. Why, you say, am I giving everything out at once? Because I want people to get hooked, and I also feel that why hold back? If I have it all ready to go, let's just give people the entire story. And even though Kimmy Cosmic is a comic book, I liked the idea of presenting it as a graphic novel first, because
Yes.
it gives me a lot of bookstore options, gives me a lot of, like, when it comes to marketing, there's a lot of marketing options that I have as a graphic novel. And in the future, it will be released in single issue format for those comic book people who like their floppy comic books. But right now, for the inaugural launch, if you're one of the very lucky people to hop on my inaugural Kickstarter, you will have the full 130 pages of Kimmy Cosmic. And I can
Yeah, no, I'm
tell
gonna get
you,
that now.
it's a doozy. The story, I feel like, I don't know, it's very compelling. I first wrote the first graphic novel, Dragon Face, was the first thing I wrote. Now going back 4.5 years ago, when I first started writing these. And Dragon Face, unfortunately, it was birthed out of a lot of depression. I was going through a lot of stuff creatively. I was trying to find my way. It just wasn't really that inspired. So when I wrote Dragon Face, I decided to write a horror. And although I think Dragon Face is awesome, and I even think it might be the best thing I've ever written, it is a very dark, extreme, intense horror, and a lot of people love that. A lot of people like that, but then a lot of people don't like that. So, after I finished it, I realized, hey, I need to write something inspiring. I need to write something cool and fun, and something that anybody of all ages can read.
Yeah,
And
something
that's
something for everybody.
something
A
for
little bit of
everybody.
everything.
And one of my favorite IPs of all time is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I freaking love Avatar: The Last
Yes.
Airbender.
Yeah.
I don't know what they was doing when they created that, but they was in there jamming on that pen and paper. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
when they made Airbender, they I have so much beef with American cartoons, because I think just there's no good American action cartoons anymore, and that's why anime. I think that's why anime is kicking everyone's butt, because there's no counterparts. You might have a Young Justice or a Castlevania. Sure, you got a couple of shows,
Right. I was
but
about to say, hold on now.
but like, if like literally you can count maybe on one hand the amount of really good American action based cartoons over the
Yes,
past 5 to 10 years, whereas you can't stop counting when it comes
for
to anime.
anime.
Probably stuff that just came out this year alone. Like, it's just endless,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And I just don't understand it, because when I was a kid, I had Transformers, I had GI Joes, I had Thundercats. Like,
Mm.
I had He Man. Like, I
Well
don't
then,
understand why these kids nowadays. I mean, I guess they have Naruto and all the all
yeah,
the
Ugh.
the
Dragon
shonen
Ball.
all the shonen stuff. So I
Ugh.
guess they've just
But
I guess the American animators feel like they don't need to make anything, because there's plenty of anime just for them to just voice over or dub into
yeah,
American.
but let me ask you this though. So then, what, like, through all those like experiences and cartoons and whatnot, like, what would you consider the greatest moment of your life up to this point?
The greatest moment of my life, creatively, right? We're speaking
Yeah.
creatively, because I do have my 4 month year old son in the other room,
Yes.
so that's a pretty great moment. But creatively, I would say right now, man, um, you know, I'm the, I, man, the amount of work that I've had to do to get to this point, just specifically with Earth Kingdom as a graphic novel, it's just insurmountable. Like, the amount of sweat equity that has gone into this, it's just like I can't even fathom. And
Yeah, it
I
took a
never
run.
wanted to do a Kickstarter. I never wanted to start my own company. Like I said, I had publishing deals for Kimmy Cosmic. I have a publishing deal for Dragon Face. I didn't sign those contracts because I was like, you know what? I think I should put these out myself as an independent creator. I might have more success instead of trying to, just hand them over to some company.
Yeah,
And when I did the Kickstarter, I was like, I've never run a Kickstarter. I'm not super organized. That seems like really organized, intelligent people with lots and lots of friends and family. That's the people who should do it. So I never wanted to do a Kickstarter. A few months ago, I was like, you know what? Let me try this Kickstarter thing. And then I was like, man, I don't know how much money I'm going to get. Maybe I'll get a thousand. I see a lot of people, they do their first Kickstarter. They get, a thousand, a couple thousand, three, four, 5,000, whatever. I'm almost at 10 grand right now.
Right,
And
I see that.
that is just way beyond my wildest dreams. It's just like, it's extremely successful for my first, foray. So I must be doing something right. And I feel like I am just getting started. Like, once these books are out and they're printed and they're physically done, my next step is to really attack social media, but in a
Yes.
way where, like, I'm gonna just there's a bunch of influencers who I really really mess with, and I'm gonna try to send my books to them, and hopefully they'll talk about my stuff. And if not, maybe I have to hire them or whatever I got to do to get my stuff out into the pockets that it needs to get to. Start moving it to bookstores, start doing a lot of conventions. I'm about to do that grind, and I'm just gonna. I do have a chip on my shoulder because a I think I'm a much I think I'm one of the best writers that people haven't read yet. And the reason I
yeah,
say that is because I really, really put in my 10,000 hours. I know a lot of people who write and come to this comic book industry because everyone wants to make a comic book now. It's so popular. Everyone wants to make a comic book. And
Yeah.
people haven't read comics. There's people who want to make comics who haven't read comics. There's people who want to make comics who don't even like comics. This particular person who I was speaking about earlier, who owns this particular company that I used to work with, one of the things he used to tell me was that he doesn't like comics, that he really likes anime, and he just thinks that comics are stepping stone to anime. And his whole
that's
point of making
wild.
comics is so that he can make an animation. And he's not the only person who thinks that way. A lot of comic book
Yeah.
creators are immediately optioning their comics for film and television. And we're talking about comic books that are 1, 2, 3 issues deep,
And they
which
become like
which is
shows and whatnot.
mind-boggling to me because it's like, man, you take something like a Walking Dead. Walking Dead had like almost 200 issues out before they made the TV show. Like something like an Umbrella Academy, a couple dozen issues.
Yeah, or
The story
Invincible.
was cemented. So it's unbelievable how a comic book creator can put out 1 or 2 issues and like, oh, it's being optioned for HBO. And I'm just like, really? Like, so you don't even care about the comic. You just wanted to make the movie. You just want to make
Yeah.
and
You
for
know
me,
what's even crazier?
what's up?
Like, do you consider comic book writers and storytellers the key modern day TV and movies?
Yeah, I mean, wait, ask the question again. My bad.
Do you consider comic book writers and storytellers being the key to modern day movies and
Oh,
TV shows?
the key. I don't know if comic book writers are the key,
Because
but
like they have the most creativity.
yeah. It's subjective. I think comic books are the most creative medium. That's just me. I think out of all the
Yeah.
different mediums that exist, I think comic books are the most creative. But someone might say animation is. Someone might say novels and books are. Somebody might say musical theater. Like, that's a subjective statement. But it does have some validity in the sense that film and television are heavily mining comic book creativity for stories. And
Yeah.
I think that the reason that is happening is because comic books are so visual.
Yes.
um, and then also the comic book community is one of the most specific and niche communities. So for a comic book to bubble up and become popular, it has to pass through several nerves. Just think of comic book guy from The Simpsons. Just think about that.
Yeah.
Just think of multiply that guy by a million.
He's like sitting there at his desk. It's like a bunch of them in a room. They're like, "All right, guys. So here's the box.
Exactly.
Now here's what we're
So
gonna do."
if a million comic book guys say, okay, your comic book is good, then it's probably really good. And when by the time it makes it to television and film, it could be a hit story. So I do think it's key, especially in a world where so much television is being made,
Oh
and
yeah.
having worked with TV and stuff, they don't. Sometimes a lot of those creators don't spend a lot of time on the meat and the bones of the story. A lot of it is just the visual, like what actor can we get, and where can we shoot it, and how can it look,
Yeah.
and is it current, is it hip? They have all these other reasons to make a show other than story and character. So yes, I do think that comic books and other forms of intellectual property, but it's really more the science fiction, the fantasy, the horror, and the superhero genres, I think, are really the key. So whether
Yeah,
whether
Yeah.
those are written in a comic book, whether it's in an anime, whether it's in a video game, whether it's in a novel, um, the medium is not as important as the genre. And I think these genres are the most emerging genres now in modern day culture.
Yeah, I would agree. I think also like a couple points on a couple things you said. I think when it comes to even some of the comic books or manga and just different things like that, sometimes it's all about marketing and production, I think, as well, because sometimes you'll see things like they'll do a whole anime trailer for an anime that will never exist. It'll just be to produce and promote the books.
Mm,
yeah,
Or they'll do a whole one season, exactly one season of an anime
hmm
just to promote the manga
mm.
because
Right,
people want to know what's going to happen.
and that's how you get those filler seasons, because
yeah.
they're trying to catch up with the manga or
And then
whatever.
here's what's even like
Interesting.
wilder, like not even just like anime in general, but like the mangas come out quick, and I
Hmm
feel like
Yeah.
they're not
Well, they
they're
used
not
to. Not
yeah,
always, not always.
like they used to come out like fast as hell, like extremely fast.
hmm
And like for graphic novels, I think they cut the time in half between adding color
Yeah.
and certain key things that graphic novels have into mangas, because mangas they give you the same visuals just in black and white, and they
Yeah.
get it out to you like immediately, so that way you're hooked, you're constantly going back getting another issue.
hmm
But
Yeah, and it's more expensive to do color,
yeah,
especially because
Oh
all those
yeah,
like
copies.
you'll have a manga where the first maybe 1 to 2 pages are color and
yeah.
then the rest will be black and white. It's
That
like, wow,
tease,
I never
man.
knew. Yeah, I never knew that character had purple hair. Good to know now. It's not just black. Like things like that, I think all come into play in the manga world, and even now that we're having like a manga shortage, it's creating more demand.
Yeah, for
So there's
mangas
so
in
there's a
general.
manga shortage right now.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like
What
if
what is that? What's the cause of that?
I have no
I
idea.
think it's just the same as everything that's experiencing a
Resources.
shortage. I think it's resources and like also like a lot of animators and creators are not, they're kind of fighting back against publishing companies as well for, better environments and things like that. And so a manga that you might have expected to come out, in May has been pushed back to November. Like things like that um happen, and I think also it's kind of giving people time in the meantime to take to social media and stuff like that and promote it because
They want it out.
they want it out, but also like you're also using people that are gonna say like, oh, let me go to TikTok and talk about this book that I'm about to get, or I got the first volume and I really want to get the second volume, but the second volume's delayed or something like that. And so all of that is creating more like
Click.
sentiment.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's
interesting.
it's and I think because I've worked in social media marketing for the last like 10 years,
hmm
it's one of the things that I think about even when I'm creating my TikToks when I talk about like the Trigun Stampede trailer that just dropped or things like
Yo.
that. Like those are things I have to think about because it's like, okay, that's not going to come out till like 2023.
Yeah, but people are still like they want it now.
But
Like
people want it now, but also it's the power of hype.
Mm,
Yeah, because hype
It's
does a lot for.
Yeah, because that's not the only thing we're gonna see until then. We're
Yeah,
mm,
probably
no,
gonna have more teasers, another trailer. There's already probably gonna be merch ready to go, like
yeah, like
things like that.
these things are
And
ready.
yeah, and I would not be surprised, especially after Anime Expo just passed. I would not be surprised when you look at how marketing works. A lot of these influencers, like it'll be like, okay, we're going to pluck maybe 13 of these people, have them maybe like send them a care package
mhm,
And then they'll
with,
go on social media and show it. You know what I mean?
yeah, they'll go on social media wearing their, their shirt or their hat or whatever product they get sent, and then they'll be like, "Oh man, I saw the episode, or I got early access to the movie or whatever," like things like that, and it creates hype. It
Traction.
creates yeah, traction and buzz. And so when people say like, "Oh, influencers really aren't that, like, I don't want to use influencers for my thing," or something like that, I'm like, "Listen, if you can have access to somebody's audience and bring that audience into your graphic novel or your manga or your show and things like that, especially if you create a brand loyal audience, you don't have to worry about anything."
yeah,
So your show can come out tomorrow,
Yeah.
your show can come out in 2024, and people will still be ready to go.
And what's even wilder, like it's even like more crazy to think about, like the fact of how things quickly go through the internet. Like it goes like within like seconds. Like you can post
mhm,
something, like a famous YouTuber can post something, half the planet seen it already. Like it's
mhm.
so bizarre to me how things and how stuff can travel so quickly. But
Yeah.
like that even being said, like AJ, so like what's next for you, man?
What's next for me, man? This is a great question. More comics, more music. Right now, I'm neck deep into the comic book launch. So, Kickstarter, running a Kickstarter is just phase one. Fulfilling your Kickstarter is a whole nother phase. So, once after tomorrow, I have to like update all the people who contributed. I have to, send out all these surveys so I can make sure I get everyone's order properly. Then I got to spend the next month or two. It should be another month, and all the books will be finalized and sent off to the printer. Once I get everything from the printer, it's all about shipping out those beautiful packages. So, next couple months, I'm just going to be really furiously working on getting all my books out. But in a less immediate future, um, I'm just going to keep creating, man. Like right now, I'm already working on the second volume of Kimmy Cosmic. It's already being illustrated, so that's great. Dragon Face is right now. I have a lot more stuff to write, but I'm just leaving it as a singular volume for now. Um, so I have a list of comic book pitches like a mile long. So I'm trying to kind of figure out what the universe wants from me. I've had a couple of different offers for some other stuff that some people want me to write. So I'm kind of just trying to sit back and wait to see who is going to bite and who's going to give me the best opportunity. But really, I'm just trying to move forward through this comic book industry as much as possible and also continue putting out music.
Hmm. It's actually pretty good. You got a lot on your plate, my man.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, I also have a small child.
Yeah,
Um,
you
Yeah.
got a lot on your plate, man.
and I, I'm still, I still got it's a lot. It's a lot. It
But
really
think of
is.
it. But think of it like this: all the work you're doing now is gonna help little bro out. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what the motivation is. I mean, a lot of people say that, man, when you have a kid, it prevents you from doing everything you want to do. I mean, it's definitely your life definitely changes in terms of scheduling and availability, absolutely. But for me, it just made me more focused. It just made me think, I thought about, oh well, maybe writing comics is not the best thing for me to do, but then I'm like, well, if I'm able to make this career happen, I can write from home, and that means I can always be home with the kid, with the kid. Like, I can always be there for him. I don't have to go like my healthcare job. I'll disappear in the hospital for 20 hours. Like it's not very functional for family. But
Yeah.
being a writer or just a producer of comics is it's great. At least I can do it at home. It's a remote job, quote unquote. So um, you're right. I do have a lot on my plate, but I'm very excited, man. I'm really happy. I can't wait for people to really connect with these books and get a chance to read them. And I can't wait to make some more stuff because I got some really cool stuff planned.
Would you ever like tap into the manga world as well? Because I would. Okay, I have to selfishly ask this, like, because I think there's such a hole in the market for like anything involving people of color, anything that really um kind of showcases,
Absolutely.
different types of people. And I think especially in the manga world, it's like I'm like, how is it's just right there.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. I mean, the whole I don't know if you ever look at the hashtag Afro anime, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is starting to catch fire. I can tell you, I know a lot of comic book creators who are working on black mangas. There's one comic book company called something noir. Oh man, I wish I knew their name. Crud, I can't bring them up. But
you said New World. I
they
was thinking of the dude from The Boys.
oh yeah, black noir.
Yeah,
um,
that's what I thought of too.
they do some really cool um black, like they're basically a black manga comic book company, and I don't know what, they don't really promote themselves that much, but they have some great mangas all starring like people of color. But my next book will be a manga, like 80% sure it's going to be a manga. And actually I was thinking about taking Kimi Cosmic, stripping the color away from it, reformatting it, and changing the font so it looks more eastern, and then re-releasing it as a manga. But
That'd actually be kind of tough. Not
That would
gonna
be
lie.
so
yeah,
cool.
that's what I was thinking about doing. Just because I like playing around with format, so I would love to read the very same story just as a manga. And I was even going to think about putting it from like back to front, just like real, making it as
Yeah,
real.
Yeah,
making a real
really go
manga.
for it.
It, you
Uh,
know what? Kimi Cosmic is such a good concept to me that I feel like it'd do extremely well over like overseas as far as when it comes to how the story is written. Because I just read like a little biography of like on the site of of the show or whatnot, of not the show. I'm sorry, of the comic book. But
yeah,
it definitely has it would definitely have a good pull overseas.
I mean, I would hope so. I mean, I would love to have a little black girl be a star of an internationally popular anime. I mean, for me, it's weird because I'm really confident in that one because, like I said, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Steven Universe, Harry Potter, like those things are my inspiration for Kimi Cosmic. Like, I want to make a story for everyone. I like those
Yeah,
stories because everyone likes those stories. It's not like, oh, this is just for 12-year-olds, or this is just for whatever. It's not. Anyone can appreciate that. So even though it's like, technically it's like a young adult story, the themes are very global and wide. And also the illustrator Emma Galloway, they are fantastic. They did a great job interpreting my designs. And then my colorist Iacopo Calisti, he is fantastic, and the colors on Kimi Cosmic, especially. I mean, I only have a 9-page preview on the Kickstarter, but when
yeah,
you really get into these pages, you'll see like the quadpods, the animals that she captures, they're all bioluminescent, and then they have different color types. So they have different powers and abilities. It kind of base it on a little bit of Pokemon inspiration, kind of. So yeah, she's capturing these farm animals and stuff like that. But you know, I always try to tell people, Kimi Cosmic is a western. It's a samurai story. It's a pirate story.
yeah.
It has all of
It's
that
something for everybody.
into one kind of thing. It's not just one thing. It's like a whole, and it's all in space. So yeah, I just thought about everything that would make me as like a 12-year-old kid just go giddy with glee. So that's kind of like what I poured into it. So yeah, I really hope. and I think people will like it. And I can't wait for it to be out there.
No, I can't wait either. I'm gonna try and after we're done because this is all the time we got, my friend.
Oh yeah, man, it's great talking to you guys. Um, but
However, I'm gonna need a copy of that. I'm gonna give you my address. You just ship it over here. How?
Subtle.
Yeah, real.
Real subtle there.
However, but yeah, that was exploring EarthTone's kingdom. That was a good episode. We did a lot. We talked about a lot.
oh
Did
wait,
some things.
did we are we still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. I wanted to
Boom.
say something to y'all, but I'll wait till we wrap up.
All right. However, thank you, AJ, for coming on the cast. It was a
Yo,
lovely time having you.
thank you for having me here. Just really inspired to be able to talk to y'all about all the stuff that I got going on. And you guys don't know how important it is to creators like us that you feature us, because we need all the upliftment we can get and all the exposure we can get. And it's really appreciating that you guys looked me up.
No, if anything, we're appreciating you
Yes.
joining us.
It goes both ways.
Mhm.
It
Thank you.
always does.